How are we all? Hope you're all well, keeping warm. It's nice to see so many of you here. Right, I'm going to attempt to do a couple of cards today. Little bit left centre for me. Don't usually do this sort of thing, but I thought, as Lisa's brought out these fabulous products, it would be rude of me not to try and use them and give you a little bit of inspiration to use them in a slightly different way. It was a lovely card, Connie. It was beautiful. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Jean. Right, so if I just go through quickly what we're going to be using, okay, and then I'm not stenciling. You all know how to stencil. If we've got new stencils, then yes, I'll stencil them, but these the stencils I'm using are all previous releases, and you all know how to do all those and what they look like and how fabulous they are. So I'm not actually going to be doing the stenciling today, but I will go through the colours that I've used, because I've done white card and black card for the first card that I'm going to show you. We're going to be using this fabulous Swirling Sun cover plate, and this is just so gorgeous. I love this. I'm not a big, I don't know, I'm quite a clean and simple crafter, a bit like Lisa. So to go out of my comfort zone is a little bit alien to me, but I really quite enjoyed this, so that's one of the ones I'm using. I've also used the A2 nested and stitched rectangles on the card that I'm going to show you first, but I haven't used them on the second one, okay? And then I've used the Wildflower spray on the first two cards, and I'm using a different set of stencils on the other card. I'm also using the bubble leaf stencil. I adore this stencil. It's just so pretty and so versatile. I just love it. And I'm also using these craft stamps, but I'm also using, it's the Little Things scripted sentiments on the second card that I'm going to show you. Okay, so I'm using all those, and then let's just show you the card that we're headed towards. So this is obviously the Swirling Sun, and it's just a little bit different for me. So the card I'm going to put together first is the reverse of this one, okay? So I've done black card and white card, but I've used the same colours, all right? Now I know it looks a little bit strange, and you can't really, well, I don't think you can't really see the flowers. I don't know whether it shows up better on camera than it does sort of like in person, but I don't know. I like the effect. I'm just not sure about it. So you decide what you think. But let's just run through the colours that I've used. Now I'm going to run through each layer on white card, and then when I bring the black one over, I'll run through the colours I've used on black card. Okay, so on the white card for layer 1, which is I think the leaves, I've used, in fact let me get the stencils so that I can tell you what is layer 1. Layer 1 I think is the leaves, and I've used Sweet Treat and Sapphire Gold, which are these two. So remember that on white card it's the colour on the left hand side that's going to appear. So because this is a yellow and this is a blue, I've mixed these two together, okay, to give me my green leaves on the white card. Alright, so that's my first layer. On layer 2, which again is the leaves, I've used Magic Garden and Crushed Velvet. Sounds a bit odd, but I really think it works. On layer 3 I've used Pink Champagne. I love this colour. I think it's just such a beautiful colour. It doesn't really come out this bright, I don't think. It comes out a really beautiful pink, and I just adore that. So then layer 5 we've gone on to Crushed Velvet, because that gives me the detail in my flowers. And layer 5 I've used Galaxy Dream, which just gives the darker shades in the flowers. So it's all about just adding little bits of detail. And then for the final one, which is the centres of the flowers, I've used Sweet Treat again. Okay, so that's where we're headed. You can see where I've used the bubble stencil. My favourite stencil, I think. So that's the white one. So we're going to put the black one together. So we're going to paper piece the black one. So I've cut all my pieces and I've kept them all in the right place to piece them into here. Now if you look at this compared to this, I think you can see more of the colours on here. Now I've used different colours because I've tried to keep it similar tones. Are you with me? So I've had to use different colours to give me similar tones because of the way they work on black card. Okay, so for layer 1, which is again the leaves, I've used sapphire gold. Now that's what it gives you on black card. So I've only had to use one colour on the leaves where I used 2 colours on the white card. Okay, and I've used one colour on each layer, whereas I used 2 colours on a couple of the layers for the white. So I think on black card you use less colours. So on layer 2, which again is detail on the leaves, I've used pink champagne because obviously this is another shade of green, but it's actually quite a shimmery green. It's a really sort of, I don't know, an expensive looking green. I think it's got a really beautiful shimmer to it. Then on layer 3 I've used teal twist, which is this one, because it gives me this pink, so that's the base of my flowers. Layer 4, which is detail on the flowers, I've used warm chestnut because it gives me this beautiful deep purple colour here. Layer 5 I've gone with Sweet Treat because that gives me a different pink, so I've stuck with sort of pinks and purples on here. And then on layer 6, which is just the centres of my flowers, I've gone in with Crushed Velvet, which gives me this beautiful sort of yellowy gold colour. Yeah, so it just goes to show you, you can get similar colours by using different colours if you're using black. Okay, so let's just make this a full card. So we're going to do some paper piecing. I'm just going to stick my little thing out of the way there. So let's start at the bottom. It's a bit fiddly, but I think it's worth it. I have tried to zoom in a little bit so that you can see better. Don't worry about any sort of oozing of the glue because it will dry clear anyway, but you really don't need very much. So if I do a few at a time, so we're starting with that one, I think, and it is really quick. Once you start, it is really quite a quick thing to do, and it's really quite satisfying seeing it come together as you sort of add in things to it. Okay, so I'm using my tweezers because these are quite fiddly pieces, the smaller ones, but still comparatively easy to do, and quite quick to do as well. So using your tweezers, you can just get all those pieces in the right place with very little effort. You really don't need to try very hard. I wouldn't do too many in one go because your glue will start to dry out, and then you don't want it you don't want your pieces falling out as somebody opens the card, do you? Because that just would not be right. So I'd sort of do 2 or 3 and then just add them in as you're going round. You see how quick it is. It's actually really quite satisfying. I've dropped a piece there. It's very difficult to see if you drop a piece, you've got to really look for it, but not too difficult. But you see how it's coming together already. Now I think I quite like the black one better than the white one, and I don't know why. I think because they're all the same colours, I just think, don't know, perhaps it's because the black is more obvious, don't know. It's sort of, there's the same amount of black on here as there is on the first one, but for me, I don't know, I just think it stands out better. So we're going round and we're paper piecing every little piece back in here. And if you, when you take them out of the die, if you're careful, you can slide them off your cutting plate sort of in position like this. Not totally in position, you might have to fiddle around with them a little bit, but it's really easy to do. Now the second, well, third I suppose, card that I'm going to do slightly differently. As you can see that I've actually cut this into the card, and then I've actually cut a frame so that the whole of the flower is in a total frame, but I'm doing the other one slightly differently. I'm actually going to cut it into the card and then put the card on the card base. And both cards that I'm making, I've got a 7x7 card base to them, and they're mainly flat, so easy for posting. I don't think, with the detail that you've got in the stencils and the fact that you paper piece in and you've got that added interest as well, I don't think you need to 3D it. I mean, you know, I like a lot of sort of depth on my card, but I really don't think with this method that you really need to 3D it at all. Okay, so I'm just coming on to the last three little pieces. So you can see how quick and easy it was to piece them back together. Now when I cut these, I cut them together. I didn't do one and then the other. I ran them through together on my machine, and I've done it that way so that I'm cutting in the same place both times. Are you with me? Because if you cut them separately, you might not get them lined up properly, and then your flowers aren't going to look right. Okay, now I think that looks nicer than the other one. I think that looks better than that one, and I can't explain why. I really can't. So let's just put the card together. So let's do our sentiment stamping first. Now normally, I've said to you before, I think sometimes black is a bit harsh when you're stamping a sentiment, but on this occasion, because I'm using black card and sort of I've got a white background, I think the black will look better than using perhaps a colour or a grey, because it will stand out and it'll just lift the rest of the card. That's my feelings anyway. So I've already lined all this up so that I know my sentiments are going to be in the right place. So all I've done is just place my card and then put my sentiments on my platform, so that I know I'm going to be stamping them in the right place. I've smudged that one a bit. Oh no, I'm missing a bit. There we go, that's better. Okay, so I've got my sentiment on, and then I'm gonna put this in the middle. But before I do that, I am just going to add a little bit of stenciling in opposite corners. Okay, I'm using Sweet Violet because I think it just goes with the rest of the colours that I've used. Taking a lot of the ink off my brush. I don't want it to be really heavy. I want it to be subtle in the background, so that it's sort of, it's there, people can see it, but it's not detracting from the main element. See, not hardly there at all, but there just enough to make a difference, I think. Gone a little bit heavy there. Okay, haven't even gone to the edge with my stenciling, just because, well, I don't really need to, do you know what I mean? Okay, and then my card piece, my pieced piece, is going in the centre there. Now I am going to 3D it, only because I want to, and I just think it's worth it. The other one, like I say, I won't be lifting anything, possibly the back layer, but then again, maybe not, because the other one is slightly different. But I wanted to actually cut the stenciling that I've already done on the other one, just to show you that you can run it through with 2 layers and it will look fabulous. Now I've sussed these pads. You know, I said to you I thought they were overly sticky. Instead of pulling them straight back, pull them off to an angle, and they're what they used to be. Spot on. Okay, so I'm just going to add that down in the centre, and then I'm just going to add 3 small purple flat back gems, not the pearls, just the flat back gems, just to finish it off. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I used them on the white card because I'd got a bit of ink on the frame, so I used it to cover it up, and I just thought, oh yeah, I quite like that. So there you go, there's the 2 that I've done with the same stencils, the same die, but it gives you 2 completely different looks, doesn't it? Absolutely, totally different. But you're getting 2 cards for the price of 1, because you're running it through once in your die cutting machine, but you're running it through together, so you're getting 2 cards there. So let's just do the other one, because the other one is quite different. So I've used the Spring Anemone on this one, and I've done it twice, but I've done it in different colourways. Okay, so it's sort of pinks and greens, but this one's quite light and this one's quite bold. So when you cut it out, you will see a difference, but hopefully you will still see the actual flower more so than you can on the black one. All right, now what I would say is, when you're doing this, cut your card first so that your card is exactly the same size. And when you're lining it up on your platform, let me just move my card. When you're lining it up on your platform where your stencils are, make sure that you're putting your card in exactly the same place, right? That way, both layers are going to be totally right. Are you with me? So we can now run this through, because I've done all my stenciling. So we just need to decide where we want to put this, die. I'm going to keep my 2 pieces of card together. I'm just going to pop that on there like that, and then I'm going to use my tape, using a little bit of washi tape. Just be careful, because you don't want to pull the card off afterwards. I'll just get my washi tape off my platform and add it down there, and then I'm just going to run it through. Alright, so just bear with me while I run this through off camera. And like I said, keep your 2 pieces of card together. Now, don't do what I did. I cut my 2 pieces of card exactly the same size, and then I thought, actually I want to back it onto black, so I'll just cut it down a bit, and I cut one and then thought, no, I'm going to make sure I cut the other one in exactly the same place. So I've had to do a bit of fiddling around, but I'm hoping that they are right. Actually put it through at an angle, and then you won't get that pressure problem when you're running it through your machine. It is quite tight, but it will go through and you won't wreck anything. But I'd run it through once and then I'd run it back again, and that way hopefully you will make sure that you cut both layers. There's my piece of black card. Now I'm going to take this off. Now I need to be really careful here, because running it through twice, running it through with 2 layers, there's obviously quite a bit of pressure there. So I need to be dead careful taking this off, because I don't want it to A, pull my card, and B, spoil any of my stenciling. Okay, so let's just take that off there, get rid of that, and then just take the other one off the other side. Just be patient and do it slowly. Right, let's take my tape off here because it's holding my pieces in and I don't want it to do that. Right, let's take those off there. Now when you take your die off, just press your pieces out because some of them are going to stick in because they're small. So just press them out as you're taking your die off and then they'll still be in the right place. Okay? Then what you need to do is take one layer off. This is the tricky bit. If I take the top layer off and just move it to one side, I've still got all my pieces where they should be. Now if I put this here, if I put a piece of card here, can you see this was an extra thing I thought about doing? So now I'm working off the cuff, if you like. So this is how you would do it if you were doing it at home. Put those pieces back in there, then you know that they're all in the right place. As I said, it's a little bit fiddly, but I think it is so worth the effort because the effect that you get when you've finished, I think, is just fabulous. Now I know there's a piece in amongst this lot. There should be over here with these, but never mind. We'll find it. It's only one little piece. So before I start and paper piece my pieces back in, I am going to glue this down to my backing sheet. Okay, so I'm gluing the rest of this down, and I would say just try and put a little bit of glue in some of these pieces here just to keep these down on your backing card. There's my little piece, look. Okay, ever so tiny pieces. You might be better off using the one with the small nozzle, but just as long as you've got something to glue it down to your backing card. Okay, so pop that down on there. Try and get it central. And then we can piece in our other colour. I'd probably take this piece off the top and leave all my pieces on my card. It might be easier. Okay, so let's start round here. It's around somewhere, it can't have gone far, and I will add it before I put the photograph in the group. Okay, so there's that little piece there missing, alright, but it's here somewhere. So let's just move that to one side, and then I can just do my stenciling and my stamping onto my card. Let's put that down there. And then I can work out which one. No special reason, just wanted to say hi. I think that's a really, really lovely sentiment. Okay, so that is going literally in the middle, just to make it look a little bit uniform. Don't usually like uniform, but okay. So let's just stamp that in black. I think considering I had moved my second image so that it wasn't really quite lined up, I don't really think you can tell. So let's just put that down there. No special reason, just wanted to say hi. There you go. I think that's perfect. I might just turn the card around as it's dirty. In fact, it's really dirty, both sides. There we go. So let's move that out of the way, because there's obviously some ink on it somewhere that is going to get in my way. So that's going to go there. And then I'm just going to use my bubble leaf stencil. And again, I'm going with the same colour, sticking with the purple. I might not actually add any ink to this brush. Let's just see what ink we've got without re-inking it, just to see if it's enough. It might just be enough. Perfect. Get rid of that. And then same the other side. And again, you're only really looking for just a little bit of interest in the background. It's not for, it doesn't serve any purpose really. It's just to give it a little bit of added interest. And again, I haven't re-inked the brush, and I think that's just spot on. That's just exactly what I wanted. Now then, I think because the rest of the card is flat and the sentiment is on there, I think we will 3D it, just to lift it up a little bit. Okay. There we go. So I've got another card that I can do here, which is going to look slightly different to that, but people will want to know how you've done it, and I just think it's a really cool, different thing to do. So if I just put all three down, let's put the black one in the middle. I'll just put them all down. Are they all in shot there? I think so. Yeah. So this will go onto another card, just so that you can see how different it looks to this one. But I think the effect, the overall effect, I think is just so clever. I think it's a really clever little die that you could get an awful lot of use out of, doing different effects with things. So I hope you enjoyed that. Very different for me, but I quite enjoyed doing it. I will find the missing piece and I will put them all as cards on the little picture that goes with the YouTube video when I've uploaded that. So I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me, and take care of each other. Bye now.